The final unit we will be covering in College Trig deals with sections of a cone. The first two we will look at are circles and parabolas. For a circle, from college algebra, a circle is of the form x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is the radius of the circle. And then because it's just x squared and y squared, the center is at 0, 0. The other way that a circle can be written would be as if it was shifted. Still have an r squared in it, but then this is either plus or minus some value of h, plus or minus some value of k. And so now our center changes at the opposite of h and the opposite of k. That is still your radius. So, for example, if you had, say, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 5 squared equals 4, our center would be at 2, negative 5. Right there is the center. And the radius of our circle would be equal to 2. So then that means our circle would be 2 away, so it would be like that. Then you have a parabola. And a parabola, as you know from functions, they are like this, or they are like that. But we can now have parabolas to the left and to the right, because they're just not functions. And a parabola, by definition in the conic section, are points equidistant from a focus point and a directrix, which is a line. So, for example, on one of these, there's a focus point is on the inside of it, and then the directrix line would be there, where the distance from here to there is the same as the distance from there to there, no matter where you're at on the parabola. So my drawing isn't very accurate right now. So there's the focus. The directrix would be somewhere up there. On this one, your focus would be in here, and your directrix would be right there, where this and that are equidistant. So, an equation would be x plus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. That's how the general form of it is written. Or if you're the other way, it would be y minus k squared equals 4p times x. Oh, we're going to put plus, sorry about that. We're going to put plus on all of them. X plus h, so this should be a plus there as well. And with these, when you have an x squared part, as opposed to a y squared part, An x squared part is an up or down. It's a function. And a y squared is a left or right. Then the value of p is the distance from vertex to focus. It doesn't matter in which that is. And then your directrix is a line that is in the opposite direction. So it's in the opposite direction of P from the vertex. And so with this equation, your vertex, which is like the center, would be at the opposite of h, the opposite of k. Over here, it's still the same. It's the opposite of h and the opposite of k. The focus point then is going to be, because this is x plus and minus h squared, it's an up or down one, the opposite of h, and then the opposite of k plus whatever the value of p is. Over here, the focus point is the other way. It would be the opposite of x plus p, comma, opposite of k. And then your directrix would be, in this case, y equals the opposite of k minus p. And here, the directrix would be x equals the opposite of h minus p. That should be an h there. What was I thinking? All right, so then to graph things with it. Let's look at these two examples. First, we have x plus 2 squared equals 8 times y minus 1. This is a parabola. And because the x is squared, it's going to be an up or down one. The value of p, or no, first off, let's do the center. The center here is at -2, 1. And the value of p is equal to 2, because 4p must equal 8. And so p has to be 2. And because this is a positive 2, your focus is up 2. And your directrix would be down 2. Now the equation would be y equals -1, and the focus point would be at -2, 3. Now to sketch a graph of it as accurately as possible, since you know that this line has to be the same distance from there on this parabola, here we have a point, so that's 2 and that's 2. Well, if you count over, let's see, make this is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4 this direction, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. and then 1, 2, 3, 4 in this direction is 4 away straight down. So our parabola does something along the lines of this. This other one here says x minus 2 equal negative 16 times x minus 2 equals y squared. Well, now our y is squared, so therefore it has to be a left or a right opening one. And because it is x minus 2, the vertex is at 2 comma 0 because there is nothing with the y. So here is our vertex. The value of p in this case is going to equal a negative 4 because 4 times p has to equal negative 16. And so p is a negative 4. And since y is squared, this is a left or a right opening type of parabola. And since p is a negative 4, it is going to open to the left. So then the focus point is 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there's the focus. And the directrix would be 4 to the right at y equals 6. And that's not y equals, that's x equals 6. And so again, to sketch a good graph of this one, here is our vertex. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 away, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4 away, which means that's 8 total distance from here to here. Well, if you run 8, or this is 4 from there to there, and 4 from there to there, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not right. What am I thinking? It's got to be from this point. This is 8, so 1, 2. Whoops. So another point on our graph, since this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a point because this is 8. And then if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is right there. There's our parabola for that second one. Okay, so if you get an equation, here's where you're ending up having to complete the square to figure out and get it the equation into standard form. So first off, this is a parabola. And I know it is a parabola because there is an x squared, but there's not a y squared. So in that case, we need to isolate the squared term stuff, which is the squared term stuff is the x squared and the negative 2x. So we want to move those things to the other side by subtracting 8y and subtracting 9. So x squared minus 2x equals a negative 8y minus 9. Now we have to try to complete the square of this thing. So that would become x minus 1 squared, because divide that by 2 and you would get 1, which means in order for us to complete the square, we actually had to add 1 to this side of the equation, meaning we have to add 1 to that side of the equation, and we will get a negative 8y minus 8. Now to get it in proper form, that has to be factored out, so it's a negative 8 times y plus 1 equals x minus 1 squared. That tells us that our center is at 1, negative 1. The value of p is a negative 2, and because x is squared, it's going to be down to the focus. So here's our graph. and 1, negative 1 is our coordinate, and then down 2 from there is our focus, and up 2 from there, which is y equals 1, is our directrix. And since this is 4 away, if you count back 1, 2, 3, 4, then our parabola is going to go like so. Now then, when you have something like this, trying to get it into the right form is the same thing, except this one's a circle. So we have x squared plus 6x plus y squared minus 12y equals negative 41. To complete the square of this would be half of 6, which is 3, and half of a negative 12, which is a negative 6. And so what had to happen in order for those two things to take place, we had to add a 9 there and a 24 there. So we have to add 9, add 24, not 24. How about we do some math properly? 6 squared is 36. And then negative 41 plus 9 plus 36 is 4. And so our center for this circle is at negative 3, 6, and the radius is 2. So 6 is negative 3, 6 is there, and then 2 away. And so there's your circle. And so today, where your assignment would be that one, page 823, numbers 1 through 45, the odds. Hope you enjoy.